Hi, this is Susan Farrar from SusanF.com, and in today's episode of the Law of Attraction series, I want to talk about fear, what's really going on with fear, and I also want to talk about your naysayers, the people that are putting their fears on you, and show you how to handle that. I'm going to give you a little script, so keep watching. Fear, when we think about fear, we're often, or resistance. Fear often shows up as resistance in our business or in our life. We're resisting something or we don't want to move forward with it. And we think, oh, underneath that is fear. But I want you to go a layer deeper and start asking yourself, when you find these fears, what exactly it is that you're afraid of. And then why? Because we are afraid of, say you're afraid of being criticized, or you're afraid of being ostracized by your community because of your opinion on something, or your family, or, those deep human fears of being ostracized or rejected. We all have those in us, or humiliated. What it is the emotion that you're afraid of. So you're afraid of the humiliation. You're afraid of feeling the shame. You're afraid of the emotional experience. It's always, always, always an emotional experience through everything that you want. Whatever your desire is, underneath that desire is the desire for a certain emotional experience. And underneath everything that you want to avoid or are afraid of, it's because you don't want that emotional experience. So when you start to pull up what that emotional experience really is, you will see themes again in your life, and you can start feeling it. Because when you feel that, when you do it in your mind and you feel that, it makes it less scary. When you feel a feeling, that is how you let it go. And if you are trying not to feel a feeling, you are in resistance to it. That is what creates patterns where you keep feeling those feelings in your life, they play out in your life. So by pinpointing those, not only can you start to do some deep inner work on yourself, but you can start actually sitting with those feelings inside of yourself, right? And just being with those feelings to help you move through resistance, to help you move through the things that you really want to do and be and create in the world. They're just emotions. They're little chemical cocktails that run through our bodies based on certain thoughts, certain meanings that we've made. That's all our emotions are. And when you become used to them, you start to not be afraid of them. And it doesn't mean that you're going to start attracting more of those feelings. That's the misconception. It's when you're in resistance that you're actually holding on to those feelings and not releasing the stuff that keeps you at a natural high vibe state. So that's a whole separate video. But I do want to give you an example of this. So I want to talk about back in the day around, I'm trying to think of what year, I don't know. It was like 2006, 2007. I started having panic attacks, and they were becoming more and more intense. I didn't know why. I found out later that it was tied to gluten and a wheat allergy and blood sugar roller coaster. So in case anyone's struggling, I just want to put that out there for them. But really what was happening is they kept coming fast and furious, and it was starting to affect my work. I was in a really, like, the height of my career. I was really loving it, but I was pushing myself so hard. Horrible lifestyle, not much sleep, lots of coffee, and a very low carb diet was starting to really take a toll on my adrenals. And I didn't know that at the time. I knew that when I had a panic attack, I felt like I was fucking dying. It was awful. I would end up in the emergency room, never wanted to take drugs. They aren't my thing. Nothing against anyone who does, but they weren't my thing. And I was determined to get to the bottom of it. And I remember one time an ambulance coming when I called them or whatever, because I felt like I was having a heart attack and dying. And they explained to me what is going on inside of my body during a panic attack. So she explained that all it is cortisol dumping, a boatload of cortisol dumping into my system and then running through my system. And it could take up to 45 minutes. And I remember after that, I would use that as they would come up, and they started becoming less and less scary. And even though I would still experience the physical effects, because there are very physical things that happen to your body when you're having a panic attack, like you might start to shake and shiver, your temperature drops, but you're sweating and you get really thirsty and you have to pee and your heart's racing and all of those things. But I could feel calm while my body processed it. And the same thing happens with an emotion, except it doesn't feel like you're dying and it doesn't have to take 45 minutes. But the same thing can happen to you if you start experiencing that emotion. You're taking away the charge. You're taking away the fear of what you fear might happen. It's not going to make it happen. What makes things happen are holding it in and suppressing it is going on in your mind because you believe that you're unworthy or bad or whatever that's creating that emotional imprint. It's different than feeling your emotion. When you feel your emotion, you are in a state of allowing. You're in a state of letting it run through you. And it doesn't mean that you're going to start attracting more things that shame you. It's going to make you feel more in control of your emotions and understand that they're not going to kill you. They're not going to hurt you. Even if you do put something out there and people react in a negative way, you can still stand strong in what's true for you and not let that emotional fear get in the way. And now the same is true when it comes to other people. So a lot of times, a lot of us as leaders and artists and creators in whatever field you're in, whenever you are doing something that seems not the norm or even just out of someone else's comfort zone, it brings up their fears. So you might have people close to you in your family or your significant other or, other close relationships, friends or whatever, who start imposing their fears on you. And it's because they see you doing something that might create an emotional experience that they are afraid of. And what I realized, I used to get mad or angry or hurt that people weren't believing in me or that they were judging me or whatever. And I realized that it's really just them. They are afraid to feel whatever that feeling is. So all you have to do, what I started to do is just say, thank you for worrying about me. Thank you for being concerned about my happiness and about me feeling good. But I am not afraid to walk through the fear and possibly feel the emotion that might come from it. To me, it's way scarier to feel regret about something than to feel another kind of emotion. So I let that fuel me, and I let myself be compassionate to those who maybe can't see my vision for me because of their fears. So all you have to say, thank you so much for caring about me, but I'm not afraid to feel what I might feel if it doesn't work out. That's what the fear is. And it might not work out. It may work out. It might not work out. And if it doesn't work out, you feel that feeling, you let it run through you, you do what you need to do, and you move on. I hope this brought some new things to your attention. Definitely want to hear what you think about in the comments. If you know anyone who could use it and needs to move through some fear and put themselves out there, I know you do, share it, please. And I will see you soon in another episode of the Law of Attraction series. Want to make sure the Law of Attraction always works for you? Go to easypeasyloa.com and get my free Law of Attraction workshop. It does not have to be all mystical and woo-woo. It can actually be very practical, very logical. I was a skeptic. I needed to understand how it all worked. And I'm a very logical person, and I've made it very easy to understand. And I show you in this workshop how the law of attraction really works, why the word attraction is actually very misleading. I also show you 6 common manifesting mistakes that most people make and what to do about them. The absolute worst thing that you can do with a limiting belief breaks my heart. Plus, I'll show you my 6-step easy peasy LOA process. This is the process that I've used for many, many years, even before I understood what I was doing. And since then, I've made it into a process that anyone can use. And what it does is help you know that you are always doing it right, first of all. So it takes the guesswork out of it because it also shows you where to course correct if your desire isn't showing up. So you can grab that at easypeasyloa.com. It's totally free. You'll get the first video right away, and I will see you there. energy first, physically, mentally. I just dropped my sunglasses. Physically, mentally, and emotionally.